never imagined a casual sightseeing detour could crack my voice every time I try to recall it. There were three of us: Ronan Verselli, a self-taught tracker obsessed with terrain anomalies; Silas Ingram, a compulsive joker who laughed even when he shouldn't; and me, Edric Melvano, the least prepared of the group and the only one who, until that day, believed the forest was a neutral place. Our destination was the Garnet Peak Gorge in Montana. We wanted to film shots for an independent project that would never see the light of day. The silence in the forest, from the start, was unnatural. No birds, no buzzing, just a dense emptiness that made you hear your own heartbeat. The first sign of danger was the footprints. Ronan froze when he saw them. They were more than twice the size of a human print and sunk with a pressure that, according to him, only an animal of over 300 kilos could produce. Silas tried to make a joke, but the laugh came out broken, as if the forest swallowed the sound before it formed. We kept going, maybe out of pride or the false safety of being in a natural place. But when we reached the gorge's edge, the illusion of calm collapsed. There were drag marks, deep, fresh, and something like skin fibers stuck to the bark of a splintered log. I touched one. It was warm. I pulled my hand back immediately. Ronan whispered that it wasn't a bear, that no predator in the area dragged prey like that it looked intentional. Then came the crack. Not distant, not close. In that impossible middle ground where instinct takes over. Silas saw it first, a gigantic, disproportionate figure that seemed to blend with the pine shadows. It moved with a forward-leaning gait, as if its spine were designed to propel it silently. There was no myth in it, no fantasy. It was a hunter, and it had noticed us. Ronan told us to back away slowly. I tried, but Silas, clumsy as always, tripped over a root. The impact echoed like a whip. The creature stalked, turned its head, and in that instant, I knew it understood exactly what we were. It charged. There is no human word for that sound. A constant burst, a rapid succession of impacts against the ground, as if each step were meant to break the earth. Ronan yelled for us to run toward the gorge's narrow split where the terrain tightens. Silas bolted, I followed. The air sliced my throat, the forest distorted around us. Silas crossed the narrow pass. I made it right after. When I looked back, I saw Ronan fall. Something had grabbed him, a massive hand coated in dirt and leaves, lifting him as if weightless. He didn't scream. He only exhaled a short sound, like crushed lungs. Silas and I ran until our legs stopped responding. We didn't talk, we didn't cry. We only listened to the forest breathing behind us, as if it knew we were still alive. They never recovered Ronan. Every night, when I close my eyes, I hear again the crack that betrayed him.
My name is Adrian Kessel, drone operator for forest inspection work. I was assigned to the Loon Creek corridor in western Montana. Simple task: capture aerial images of old wooden bridges that could collapse under heavy snow. Nothing concerning. Nothing that suggested the area hid something that didn't appear in any report. I reached the old bridge a little after 5 in the afternoon. The sky was covered by low, gray clouds that dimmed the forest. The silence was so complete that my own footsteps sounded misplaced. I set up the drone, checked the panel, and began the flight over the creek. The first shots came out perfect. The structure was worn but stable, until the drone caught something moving under the bridge. I rewound the video, zoomed in. It wasn't clear, but the shape was too large for a deer, too tall for a bear, and far too straight for any animal typical of the area. Its chest expanded and contracted as if it were breathing. I thought maybe a man had taken shelter there. I decided to go down to the creek bed in case someone needed help. I had no weapon, just a flashlight and the drone's tablet. I descended the slope carefully. The wooden boards above me creaked. The sound of the water was faint, almost smothered. When I reached the center, I saw footprints. Deep, disproportionate, fresh. My breathing accelerated before I could control it. Then I heard the first knock. A sharp one, above me, as if a palm had pressed against the wood. Then another, and another, as if something were walking across the bridge, very slowly, testing the weight of its prey. I turned off my flashlight and held still, pressed against a support beam. I took out the drone controller to see if the camera could show what stood above me. I activated it. The image stabilized. The bridge appeared on screen. And then, a massive shadow covered it. I knew it wasn't human even before the figure moved. The arms were too long. The head a shapeless dark mass, as if wet fur hung in thick strands. It leaned forward. I sensed it was smelling the air. I held my breath. The creature turned slowly and lowered its head toward the side of the bridge, as if looking directly at the creek, right where I stood. I stepped back, but a stone shifted under my boot. That tiny sound changed everything. The creature roared. It wasn't an animal roar, but an explosion of compressed air that punched straight through my chest. It leapt from the bridge with impossible speed. Its weight made the entire creek bed vibrate. I ran without direction, tripping over roots, branches, mud. I could hear it behind me, ragged breathing, enormous footsteps crushing the earth as if nothing could slow it. I don't know how I managed to reach the truck. I only remember my hands shaking so badly it took minutes to turn the key. Since then, I never fly drones alone. And every time I cross a bridge, even a crowded one, I swear I hear those slow knocks on the wood.
The Winterhorn Weather Station, isolated in the cold forests of northern Montana, was hell for anyone who hated silence. There were 3 of us: Niels Corvin, sensor technician, Marla Vaingrath, communications specialist, and Jude Halber, the paramedic assigned as a precaution. I was Niels, and although I usually worked alone, that season they sent us as a team because of the recent landslides in the area. At 11:40 p.m., one of the exterior sensors began showing massive interference spikes, too precise to be wind or weather. "Not natural," Marla murmured. "Something is blocking the signal, moving between the tower and the receiver." Jude, always pragmatic, said it could be a fallen tree. I wanted to believe him. We stepped out with our flashlights. The snow cracked under our boots. The air carried a strange metallic smell, like burnt cables mixed with resin. I had never smelled anything like it. A few meters from the antenna, Jude stopped. "Guys, look at this!" The snow was sunken by enormous, deep footprints, far too large for any animal in the region. Even worse, they circled the station in a perfect ring, as if something had been studying it. "We're not following them," I ordered. Marla nodded without arguing, which was already a bad sign. We reached the tower. The panel vibrated as if something invisible was striking it from above. I checked the base and felt a subtle oscillation. "This isn't wind," I muttered. Jude raised his flashlight and aimed it toward the forest. That's when we heard the first crunch in the snow. A step. Then another. Slow. Heavy. Precise. Marla whispered, "That thing is walking on 2 legs."
Jude's flashlight flickered. Marla tried to stabilize hers, hands shaking. "Electromagnetic interference," she said. "Whatever's out there, it's affecting everything." A brutal impact slammed into the tower. Then another. The whole structure trembled as if something massive were analyzing it. "Back up," I ordered. "Don't run." The crunching came again. Too close. Jude aimed toward the tree line. And then we saw it. Not fully, not clearly, but enough. A towering figure, covered in dark, soaked fur, crouched among the pines. Its breath formed dense clouds. I could see its shoulders moving, disproportionate, tense. It turned its head toward us with a slow, deliberate motion, as if assessing us. Marla stepped back, the snow cracking under her boot. That faint sound triggered the attack. The creature burst from the forest with terrifying force. It didn't roar, it didn't scream. It simply charged with the determination of something intent on removing a nuisance, us. We ran toward the station. The creature didn't follow us directly. Instead, it veered toward the tower. With one single motion, it tore the main antenna off like it was a dead branch. The metal bent with a shriek so sharp it felt like it scraped the inside of my teeth. "To the cabin!" I shouted. We rushed inside and shut the door. Outside, the creature circled the structure, breathing slow, deep, calculating our chances. It wasn't hunting. It was making it clear the station belonged to it, and that we had trespassed on its night. Even now, when the wind gets strong, we still hear knocks on the broken tower. Marla says it's the metal. I know it's not.
I never should have entered Bitterroot Canyon. My name is Casper Edevane, independent surveyor, and that day I only needed to verify a few points marked by the Forest Service after a recent landslide. I wasn't looking for adventure or mystery, just routine work. But the electrical storm forced me off the official trail and toward the canyon walls, which offered some protection from the lightning. The rain fell suddenly, without warning. In seconds, I was soaked. Mud clung to my boots as if trying to hold me in place. Still, I pushed on toward a dense fissure where the trees seemed to grow on top of one another, twisted by the wind. That's when I noticed the smell. Not humidity, not wet soil. Freshly disturbed earth mixed with something warm, almost animal. I switched on my headlamp. The rain should have erased everything, yet in one patch of ground, perfectly defined, were enormous footprints, deep, clear, impossible. I placed my boot beside one to compare. Mine looked like a child's. I kept moving because the canyon was my only temporary escape from the storm. Every lightning flash lit up the tall pines leaning inward as if something had pushed them, refusing to leave a straight path behind. 15 minutes later, I heard a sound that froze me. A long, harsh growl, like a massive stone grinding beneath the earth. It didn't come from the sky. It didn't come from the rain. It came from inside the canyon. I stayed still, trying to decide whether it was echo, wind, or a trapped animal. But the sound became clearer, closer. It was heavy breathing. Not human, not animal, something in between, monstrously rhythmic. I turned off my light without thinking. My heart pounded so hard I feared it could be heard. I stepped back, and the mud cracked beneath my boot. That tiny sound was enough. I heard it move. It wasn't walking. It was charging. I felt the vibrations in the ground, one heavy impact, then another, each faster than the last.
A lightning flash exposed it, not fully, just the silhouette, massive, with absurdly wide shoulders, covered in soaked dark hair, leaning forward as if built to hunt in tight spaces like that. I stumbled backward and nearly fell. It, whatever it was, released a deep, low sound that I felt more in my gut than in my ears. I ran out of pure terror. There was no trail, no markers, just a slit between two huge blocks of rock. I hurled myself through it. The creature reached within meters. I could hear its hard breathing, its weight crushing the mud. Something scraped the stone just behind me. Maybe a hand. I squeezed through, tearing the skin off my arms. I ran without looking back until my legs refused to move anymore. The storm lasted all night. So did it. I heard it circling outside the canyon for hours, as if it knew I was still there. At dawn, the footprints were gone, but the breathing, I still hear it.